It involves the cartel and the mafia.
To the name Hell's Angels.
Europe's cocaine trade.
Because amongst the dead, there were children.
This is the true side of the mafia.
In the world of crime, some head groups are there that basically control the underworld.
He turned crazy. Wasn't the same man.
I am part of it.
From the infamous Russian Mafia to the secretive 5 families of New York City, today we will uncover 10 of the most powerful organized crime groups, including their origins, operations, and the indelible mark they've left on society. Number 1. La Cosa Nostra, Italian Mafia. Our first criminal organization is from Italy. It is La Cosa Nostra, which originated in Sicily in the 19th century. Its name translates to "our thing," symbolizing the secretive nature of its operations. The Mafia initially formed to protect Sicilian citizens from corrupt government officials, but quickly evolved into a powerful criminal syndicate involved in various illegal activities. The roots of La Cosa Nostra can be traced back to Sicily in the 1800s. In a region rife with corruption and lawlessness, local groups emerged to offer protection and enforce their own code of conduct. These groups, known as mafias, eventually coalesced into a more organized entity that we now recognize as La Cosa Nostra. During the late 19th and early 20th centuries, waves of Sicilian immigrants brought the mafia to the United States. The organization found fertile ground in American cities, particularly New York, where it expanded rapidly. Prohibition in the 1920s provided a lucrative opportunity for the mafia to grow its influence through bootlegging and speakeasies. Some of the most notorious figures in mafia history include Charles "Lucky" Luciano, who is credited with creating the modern mafia structure in the United States, and Salvatore "Toto" Riina, known for his ruthless leadership of the Sicilian Mafia during the 1980s and 1990s. Charles "Lucky" Luciano orchestrated the establishment of the Commission, a governing body to mediate disputes among mafia families and regulate their activities. Luciano's vision brought a level of order and cooperation that allowed the mafia to flourish in America. Salvatore "Toto" Riina led the Sicilian Mafia, or Cosa Nostra, with an iron fist. His reign was marked by a campaign of violence known as the Second Mafia War, which resulted in the deaths of numerous rivals and law enforcement officials. Riina's brutality eventually led to increased government crackdowns and his own capture in 1993. One of the most infamous incidents involving La Cosa Nostra was the Appalachian Meeting in 1957. This gathering of over 100 mafia leaders in Appalachian, New York, was raided by law enforcement, exposing the extent and reach of mafia operations across the United States. Another significant incident was the assassination of anti-mafia magistrates Giovanni Falcone and Paolo Borsellino in 1992. These killings shocked Italy and led to massive public outcry, prompting the government to intensify its efforts against the mafia. Falcone and Borsellino's deaths underscored the mafia's ruthless determination to maintain power and silence opposition. The story of Joe Valachi, a mafia soldier who turned informant in the 1960s, provides a rare inside look into the mafia's operations. His testimony before the U.S. Senate revealed the inner workings of the mafia and helped the FBI understand and combat organized crime more effectively. Valachi's revelations included details about the mafia's code of silence, known as omerta, and its hierarchical structure. Number 2. Japanese Yakuza. The second crime organization is from Japan, named Yakuza. It has a history that dates back to the 17th century. These groups originated among wandering samurai and gamblers, eventually evolving into highly organized and hierarchical criminal organizations. The Yakuza's origins can be traced to the Edo period, when groups of masterless samurai and gamblers began to organize for mutual protection and profit. Over time, these groups developed their own codes of conduct and rituals, leading to the highly structured organizations we see today. The term Yakuza comes from a losing hand in the Japanese card game Oicho Kabu, symbolizing the group's outsider status. Despite their criminal activities, the Yakuza often portray themselves as protectors of traditional Japanese values and community guardians, a self-image that has helped them maintain a complex relationship with society. One of the most notorious Yakuza leaders was Kazuo Taoka, the head of the Yamaguchi Gumi, Japan's largest Yakuza organization. Known as the Godfather of Godfathers, Taoka expanded the Yamaguchi Gumi's influence throughout Japan and beyond. Under his leadership, the Yamaguchi Gumi grew to become a dominant force, involved in various illegal activities such as drug trafficking, extortion, and gambling. Shinoda Kenichi, also known as Tsukasa, succeeded Taoka and continued to expand the Yamaguchi Gumi's operations internationally. His leadership style and business acumen helped the organization adapt to changing times, including the rise of cybercrime and global trafficking networks. Numerous high-profile incidents involving the Yakuza have occurred, such as the 1995 sarin gas attack on the Tokyo subway, which reportedly received assistance from Yakuza members. This incident highlighted the Yakuza's reach and their involvement in various aspects of Japanese society. In 2003, journalist Jake Adelstein published Tokyo Vice, a memoir detailing his experiences covering the Yakuza for a Japanese newspaper. Adelstein's work provides a rare glimpse into the shadowy world of the Yakuza and their complex relationships with law enforcement and the media. His investigation into the Yakuza's involvement in human trafficking and other crimes led to threats against his life, underscoring the dangers faced by those who challenge these powerful organizations. Number 3. Russian Mafia. Now proceed to the third and one of the biggest mafia groups, which belongs to Russia. You may call it the Russian Mafia. It has its roots in the Soviet Union. Following the collapse of the USSR, criminal organizations rapidly expanded, taking advantage of the chaotic transition to a market economy. The Russian Mafia's origins can be traced back to the Soviet era, where black market activities flourished under the oppressive regime. After the fall of the Soviet Union, these criminal enterprises seized the opportunity to expand, engaging in activities such as drug trafficking, arms smuggling, and cybercrime. The term vorva zakoni denotes the traditional Russian criminal elite who operated under a strict code of conduct within the Soviet prison system. During the chaotic 1990s, as Russia transitioned from a planned economy to a market economy, the lack of regulatory oversight allowed organized crime to flourish. Criminal groups infiltrated various sectors, including banking, natural resources, and government institutions, establishing themselves as powerful players in the new capitalist order. Semyon Mogilevich is often cited as one of the most powerful figures in the Russian Mafia. Mogilevich is known for his involvement in complex financial crimes and his ability to evade law enforcement. His operations included money laundering, securities fraud, and arms trafficking, with a network that spanned multiple countries. Another notorious figure is Vyacheslav Ivankov, also known as Yaponchik. Ivankov's activities in the United States during the 1990s brought significant attention to the Russian Mafia's international reach. His eventual arrest and deportation back to Russia highlighted the collaborative efforts between international law enforcement agencies. One of the most significant incidents involving the Russian Mafia was the assassination of journalist Anna Politkovskaya in 2006. Politkovskaya was a vocal critic of the Russian government and its ties to organized crime. Her murder highlighted the dangerous intersection of politics and organized crime in Russia and the risks faced by those who challenge powerful interests. In the early 2000s, the FBI launched Operation Ghost Stories, which uncovered a network of Russian spies operating in the United States. This case underscored the Russian Mafia's global reach and their involvement in espionage activities. The network, known as the Illegals Program, involved deep cover agents who integrated into American society, gathering intelligence for the Russian government. Number 4. Albanian Mafia. The fourth mafia syndicate is the Albanian Mafia. This group is known for its involvement in drug trafficking, human trafficking, and arms smuggling. These organizations have gained a reputation for their ruthlessness and efficient operations. The Albanian Mafia's origins can be traced back to the traditional clans and family structures in Albania. During the 1990s, as the country faced political and economic instability, these groups expanded their operations, establishing a significant presence in Europe and beyond. The fall of communism and the subsequent anarchy created a vacuum that the Albanian Mafia exploited, moving quickly to fill the power void. The term kanun refers to the traditional Albanian code of conduct, which includes principles of honor and vengeance. This code has influenced the Mafia's structure and operations, emphasizing loyalty and retribution. The Albanian Mafia's ability to leverage family ties and traditional values has contributed to its resilience and effectiveness. One of the most notorious figures in the Albanian Mafia is Daut Kadriovski, known for his involvement in drug trafficking and organized crime activities across Europe. Kadriovski's network extended into various countries, including Italy, where the Albanian Mafia became a dominant force in the heroin trade. Another significant figure is Alex Rudaj, leader of the Rudaj Organization, an Albanian-American mafia group based in New York. Rudaj's group challenged the established Italian-American mafia families for control of criminal enterprises, leading to violent confrontations and a major FBI crackdown in the mid-2000s. In 2004, Italian authorities uncovered a massive human trafficking operation run by the Albanian Mafia. This operation smuggled thousands of immigrants into Italy, highlighting the Mafia's involvement in exploitative activities. The migrants were often subjected to forced labor and prostitution, revealing the brutal nature of the Mafia's human trafficking operations. Another significant incident which saw the collapse of the government and widespread anarchy. The Albanian Mafia took advantage of the chaos to expand their influence, seizing control of arms depots and establishing a stronghold in the Balkans. This period marked a significant expansion of the Mafia's power and reach. Number 5. Mexican Mafia. This fifth organization is the Mexican Mafia, also known as La M. This is one of the most powerful prison gangs in the United States. Founded in the 1950s, La M has a strong influence both inside and outside prison walls. The Mexican Mafia was founded at the Duell Vocational Institution in California by a group of inmates seeking to protect themselves and control the prison's drug trade. Over time, La M expanded its influence beyond the prison system, becoming a dominant force in the criminal underworld. The organization's structure and operations are characterized by a strict code of conduct and a hierarchical system, with leaders known as carnales, brothers. The Mexican Mafia's activities are not limited to prisons. They extend to various neighborhoods and communities, where they engage in drug trafficking, extortion, and violent enforcement of their rules. The gang's influence is particularly strong in Southern California, where they have established a network of affiliates and subgroups. Joe Pegleg Morgan was one of the early leaders of the Mexican Mafia, known for his strategic mind and ruthless tactics. Morgan played a key role in expanding La M's influence within and outside the prison system. Despite being of Croatian descent, Morgan's intelligence and leadership earned him a place of prominence within the organization. In 1993, members of the Mexican Mafia orchestrated the brutal murder of several members of the rival gang, the Nuestra Familia, in what became known as the Black Widow murders. This incident highlighted the Mexican Mafia's violent methods and their control over the prison system. The murders were part of an ongoing war between the two gangs, which has claimed numerous lives and caused widespread fear within the prison community. Another significant incident was Operation Black Widow, a law enforcement effort that targeted the Mexican Mafia and its affiliates. The operation resulted in the arrest and prosecution of numerous gang members, dealing a significant blow to La M's operations. The success of Operation Black Widow demonstrated the effectiveness of coordinated law enforcement efforts in combating organized crime. Number 6. Chinese Triads. Now proceed to our 6th crime group. The Triads are Chinese organized crime syndicates with a history that dates back to the 17th century. These secret societies have a complex structure and engage in various criminal activities, including drug trafficking, extortion, and human trafficking. The Triads originated during the Qing dynasty as secret societies opposed to the ruling government. Over time, these groups evolved into powerful criminal organizations with a significant presence in China, Hong Kong, and other parts of the world. The term triad refers to the triangular symbols used by these groups, representing the unity of heaven, earth, and humanity. Initially, the Triads were patriotic organizations that sought to overthrow the Qing dynasty and restore the Ming dynasty. However, as political and social conditions changed, they shifted their focus to criminal activities, exploiting their secretive structures and loyal memberships to control various illegal enterprises. One of the most notorious Triad leaders was Wan Kwok Koi, also known as Broken Tooth. As the leader of the 14K Triad, he was involved in numerous criminal activities in Macau and was a central figure in the violent gang wars of the 1990s. Wan's flamboyant lifestyle and public persona drew significant attention, culminating in his arrest and imprisonment in 1999. In 1997, a violent gang war erupted in Macau between the 14K Triad and the rival Woxing Wo Triad. The Triad's influence and their violent tactics were clearly visible during this conflict, which featured brutal murders and open shootings. The gang war resulted in numerous casualties and prompted a significant crackdown by law enforcement authorities. Another notable incident was the kidnapping of Victor Li, the son of Hong Kong billionaire Li Ka-shing, by Chung Tse-kung in 1996. Chung demanded a ransom of over $130 million, which was paid, and Victor Li was released unharmed. The case drew widespread attention and underscored the Triad's ability to target even the most powerful and protected individuals. The story of Paul Lai, a former Triad member who became a pastor, provides a unique perspective on the Triads. His transformation from a gang member to a community leader offers a powerful narrative of redemption and change. Lai's efforts to help other former gang members reintegrate into society highlight the challenges and possibilities of leaving the criminal life. Number 7. Israeli Mafia. The Israeli Mafia's ability to operate both domestically and internationally has made it a formidable force in the world of organized crime. Ze'ev Rosenstein is one of the most notorious figures in the Israeli Mafia. Known for his involvement in drug trafficking, Rosenstein was arrested in 2004 and later extradited to the United States. His arrest marked a significant blow to the Israeli Mafia and highlighted the international reach of his criminal activities. In 2003, a bomb exploded in Tel Aviv, killing 3 people and injuring dozens. The attack was part of a feud between rival Israeli mafia factions, highlighting the violent power struggles within the criminal underworld. The bombing drew significant attention from law enforcement and the public, prompting increased efforts to combat organized crime in Israel. Another notable incident was the assassination of Yaakov Alperon, a prominent Israeli mafia boss, in 2008. Alperon was killed in a car bombing in Tel Aviv, an attack attributed to rival criminal factions. His death underscored the intense rivalries and violent methods used by Israeli crime groups to settle disputes. Number 8. Colombian drug cartels. The eighth crime organization is the notorious Colombian drug cartels, such as the Medellin and Cali cartels, which have played a central role in the global drug trade. These organizations are notorious for their violent methods and their impact on Colombian society. The Colombian drug trade began to flourish in the 1970s, with the Medellin and Cali cartels emerging as major players. These cartels controlled the production and distribution of cocaine, making billions of dollars and wielding significant power. Colombia's advantageous location and the high demand for cocaine in the United States and other nations facilitated the rise of the cartels. The Medellin cartel, led by Pablo Escobar, became infamous for its brutality and wealth. Escobar's cartel used violence and intimidation to maintain control, engaging in bombings, assassinations, and kidnappings. The Cali cartel, led by the Rodriguez Orejuela brothers, took a more business-like approach, focusing on bribery and corruption to achieve their goals. Pablo Escobar, the leader of the Medellin cartel, is one of the most infamous figures in the history of organized crime. Known for his ruthlessness and wealth, Escobar's reign of terror left a lasting impact on Colombia. At the height of his power, he was estimated to be one of the richest men in the world, with a fortune built on cocaine trafficking. One of the most notorious incidents involving Colombian cartels was the assassination of Colombian presidential candidate Luis Carlos Galen in 1989. Number 9. Serbian Mafia. The ninth crime group is the Serbian Mafia. This mafia, known for its involvement in drug trafficking, arms smuggling, and human trafficking, operates primarily in Serbia and the Balkans. These organizations are notorious for their violent methods and connections to other international crime syndicates. The Serbian Mafia's origins can be traced back to the Yugoslav wars in the 1990s, which created a chaotic environment ripe for organized crime. Former soldiers and paramilitary members formed criminal groups that engaged in various illegal activities. The instability and lawlessness of the post-war period allowed these groups to establish themselves and expand their influence. The term Serbian Mafia encompasses a variety of criminal organizations, each with its own structure and areas of operation. These groups often maintain ties to political and business elites, allowing them to operate with relative impunity. The collapse of Yugoslavia and the ensuing conflicts provided fertile ground for these criminal enterprises to thrive. Darko Saric, a notorious figure in the Serbian Mafia, has been linked to drug trafficking. Saric's network smuggled enormous amounts of cocaine into Europe, making him one of the region's most sought criminals. His capture in 2014 represented a big win for law enforcement agencies. In 2003, Serbian Prime Minister Zoran Dindic was assassinated by members of the Serbian Mafia. This assassination was a significant political event, highlighting the deep connections between organized crime and political instability in Serbia. The murder of Dindic, who was a key figure in reforming Serbia and combating corruption, underscored the mafia's influence and the challenges faced by those who oppose them. The story of Milorad Ulemek, a former paramilitary leader turned mafia boss, provides insight into the Serbian mafia's operations. Ulemek, also known as Leguija, was involved in the assassination of Prime Minister Dindic and later sentenced to prison. His trial and conviction offer a glimpse into the complex relationships between organized crime, politics, and paramilitary groups in Serbia. Number 10. The Five Families of New York City. Today's last crime group is from the USA. This is the Five Families of New York City. Bonanno, Colombo, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese form the core of this American mafia. These families have a long history of involvement in organized crime, with significant influence in various illegal activities. The five families were established in the early 1930s following the Castellamarese War, a bloody power struggle among New York's mafia factions. Charles "Lucky" Luciano played a key role in creating the Commission, a governing body for the mafia, which brought stability to the family's operations. The establishment of the Commission marked a turning point in the history of the American Mafia, fostering cooperation and coordination among the families. Each family operates its own territories and criminal enterprises, but they also collaborate on major operations and settle disputes through the Commission. The five families have been involved in activities such as drug trafficking, extortion, gambling, and labor racketeering. Their influence extends beyond New York, affecting various industries and communities across the United States. Charles "Lucky" Luciano is one of the most influential figures in the history of the five families. As a founder of the Commission and the modern American Mafia, Luciano's leadership and vision helped shape the mafia's structure and operations. His efforts to organize and regulate the family's activities marked a significant evolution in organized crime. John Gotti, the infamous boss of the Gambino family, is another key figure. Known for his flamboyant style and defiance of law enforcement, Gotti's reign brought significant attention to the mafia. His eventual conviction in 1992, largely due to the testimony of his underboss, Sammy "the Bull" Gravano, was a major victory for law enforcement. The Appalachian Meeting in 1957 was a significant incident where over 100 mafia members from across the country gathered in Appalachian, New York. Law enforcement raided the meeting, resulting in numerous arrests and bringing the mafia unprecedented levels of public and governmental attention. Number 11. Mexican cartels. Our next crime syndicate is Mexican cartels, who are powerful and sophisticated criminal organizations involved in various illegal activities, including drug trafficking, arms smuggling, human trafficking, and money laundering. These cartels have a significant impact not only on Mexico but also on other countries, particularly the United States, due to the cross-border nature of their operations. The Sinaloa cartel, formerly run by Joaquin El Chapo Guzman and now allegedly run by Ismael El Mayo Zambada and Guzman's sons, specializes in the trafficking of cocaine, methamphetamine, marijuana, and heroin. Their extensive and sophisticated trafficking networks operate in several Mexican states, including Sinaloa, Durango, and Chihuahua, and extend into the United States and other international markets. The Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes-led Jalisco New Generation Cartel, also known as El Mencho, is well known for its aggressive expansion and violent methods. Engaging in drug trafficking, extortion, and violent enforcement of their territory, they operate in Jalisco and other regions, including Michoacán, Colima, and Veracruz, with a significant presence in the United States and other countries. The Mexican government has engaged in various operations to combat the cartels, including military interventions and law enforcement crackdowns. However, the sheer power of the cartels and corruption frequently hamper efforts. The U.S. government works closely with Mexican authorities to combat drug trafficking and related crimes. including intelligence sharing, joint operations, and significant funding for anti-cartel initiatives. Number 12, Hells Angels. Now, take a look at the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club, an infamous international outlaw motorcycle gang known for its involvement in various criminal activities. Established in 1948 in California, the group has grown into a global organization with chapters in numerous countries. Despite their claims of being a motorcycle enthusiasts club, the Hells Angels are frequently associated with illegal activities such as drug trafficking, arms smuggling, extortion, and violent crimes. The Hells Angels' origins trace back to post-World War II America, where the desire for camaraderie among veterans led to the formation of motorcycle clubs. The Hells Angels quickly distinguished themselves with their rebellious attitudes and defiance of societal norms. Over the decades, they adopted a strict code of secrecy and loyalty, which has been central to their operations and survival. The gang's structure is highly organized, with local chapters that adhere to the central rules and regulations set by the international leadership. Each chapter operates autonomously, but must follow the overall directives of the organization. Membership is highly selective, requiring prospective members to undergo a rigorous vetting process. Full members, often called full patch members, display the distinctive Hells Angels death head logo on their vests. The Hells Angels are heavily involved in criminal enterprises, most notably drug trafficking. They have been implicated in the production and distribution of methamphetamine, cocaine, marijuana, and other illicit substances. The gang's extensive network allows them to control significant portions of the drug market in various regions. Additionally, the Hells Angels have been linked to arms smuggling, providing illegal firearms to other criminal organizations and individuals. Number 13, Irish Mob. Take a look at the Irish Mob, which is a collective term for various organized crime groups of Irish origin operating primarily in the United States, Ireland, and the United Kingdom. These groups have a long history dating back to the 19th and early 20th centuries, and they are involved in a range of illegal activities, including drug trafficking, extortion, loan sharking, and money laundering. During the Prohibition era in the 1920s, the Irish Mob expanded its operations significantly. Prohibition created a lucrative market for illegal alcohol, and Irish gangs, along with other ethnic criminal organizations, were quick to capitalize on the opportunity. Figures like Dean O'Banion in Chicago and Oni Madden in New York became notorious for their roles in the illegal liquor trade. This period also saw violent turf wars with other gangs, including the Italian Mafia and Jewish mobsters, as different groups vied for control over the profitable bootlegging operations. The Irish Mob is known for its strong family and community ties, which have been instrumental in maintaining its cohesion and resilience. Members often come from tightly knit neighborhoods where loyalty and secrecy are deeply ingrained cultural values. This close-knit nature has made it difficult for law enforcement to penetrate the organization and gather intelligence. Moreover, the Irish Mob has often collaborated with other criminal groups, including the Italian Mafia, to further their mutual interests and protect their operations from outside threats. Number 14, Crips and Bloods. Our next racket, the Crips and the Bloods, are two of the most notorious street gangs in the United States, with significant presences in urban areas, notably Los Angeles, California. Originating in the 1960s, both gangs emerged as responses to social and economic disparities faced by African American communities, initially providing a sense of protection and camaraderie. However, they quickly evolved into criminal organizations involved in various illicit activities. Identified by their distinct colors and symbols, blue for the Crips and red for the Bloods, the gangs have a rigid hierarchy and complex set of rules governing membership and behavior. The Crips, founded by Raymond Washington and Stanley Tukey Williams, initially aimed to protect neighborhoods from external threats. Similarly, the Bloods emerged in response to gang violence and racial tensions, with a focus on community protection and solidarity. Over time, both gangs became heavily involved in drug trafficking, extortion, and violent crimes, contributing to the proliferation of illegal substances and heightened levels of violence in affected communities. The rivalries between the Crips and the Bloods have led to countless casualties and incidents of violence, perpetuating cycles of retaliation and conflict. Despite law enforcement efforts to dismantle their operations and mitigate their influence, the Crips and the Bloods remain formidable forces in many urban areas, posing significant challenges to public safety and community well-being. Eradicating these gangs requires holistic approaches addressing root causes such as poverty, lack of opportunity, and social marginalization, while simultaneously enforcing laws and regulations to disrupt their criminal activities. Number 15. Latin Kings. Lastly, the Latin Kings, a prominent street gang in the United States, originated in Chicago during the 1940s with a focus on community empowerment and social justice advocacy. However, it eventually transformed into a criminal organization involved in various illegal activities. Known for its hierarchical structure, members adhere to a strict code of conduct, with leadership centralized under the Crown, overseeing operations and enforcing discipline. Symbolism, including hand signs and colors like black and gold, signifies allegiance and rank within the gang. Engaging in a spectrum of criminal enterprises, the Latin Kings dominate drug markets in urban areas, distributing cocaine, heroin, marijuana, and other substances. Extortion is another key tactic, targeting businesses and individuals for protection, money, and other illicit gains. Violence is prevalent within the gang, both internally for maintaining control and loyalty, and externally through conflicts with rival gangs, often resulting in casualties and public safety concerns. In essence, the Latin Kings' evolution from a social organization to a criminal enterprise underscores the complexities of gang culture and its impact on communities. Addressing the underlying socioeconomic factors driving gang involvement is essential for mitigating their influence and fostering safer, more resilient communities. For today, we are closing here. If you want to know more about these mafia groups, let us know. And for more such videos, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.